Hey guys, welcome to my 4th HTML Crash Course 2020 web tutorial. This course is designed for absolutely beginners, and you will be able to build your own website after finish this tutorial. In this topic I will talk about the HTML attribute. All the content and the source code will be shared under the description below, and it is a total free. So please subscribe this channel and turn on the notification for my future video. Now, let's get started. All HTML elements can have attributes. Attributes provide additional information about an element. It always specified in the start tag, and it usually come in name and value pairs like name equals value. Attribute values should always be enclosed in quotation marks. Both single and double quotes can be used to quote attribute values. However, double quotes are most common. In some situations, when the attribute value itself contains double quotes, it is necessary to use single quotes. There are several attributes in HTML that do not consist of name-value pairs but consists of just name. Such attributes are called Boolean attributes. Examples of some commonly used Boolean attributes are checked, disabled, required, and so on. They all consider an input element. Don't worry if you don't know this, I will talk more detail about input element in future video. By the way, the attribute values are generally case insensitive, except certain attribute values, like the ID and class attributes. However, World Wide Web Consortium recommends lowercase for attributes values in their specification. Remember we talked about the link element in HTML before? If you forget, feel free to check the previous video and review again. Link elements usually defined by a tag, and the link address is specified in the href attribute. HTML images are defined with the img tag. The file name of the image source is specified in the src attribute. The alt attribute specifies an alternative text to be used if an image cannot be displayed. The alt attribute is also useful if the image does not exist. HTML images also have width and height attributes, which specifies the width and height of the image. The width and height are specified in pixels by default. So width equals 500 means 500 pixels wide. If you don't know what is pixel, don't worry, I will create another video which tell you everything about HTML unit. So don't forget to subscribe this channel and turn on the notification for the future video. The language of the document can be declared in the HTML tag. The language is declared with the lang attribute. Declaring a language is important for accessibility applications and search engines. The first two letters specify the language EN. If there is a dialect, add two more letters US. The title attribute is used to provide advisory text about an element or its content. Here, a title attribute is added to the paragraph element. The value of the title attribute will be displayed as a tooltip when you mouse over the paragraph. Setting the style of an HTML element can be done with the style attribute. The style attribute allows you to specify CSS styling rules such as color, font, border, and so on, directly within the element. The HTML style attribute has the following syntax. The property is a CSS property. The value is a CSS value. I will create another CSS tutorial in the future. The CSS background color property defines the background color for an HTML element. This example sets the background color for a page to powder blue. The CSS color property defines the text color for an HTML element. In HTML, a color can be specified by using a color name. You can also specify color use RGB values, hex values, HSL values, and so on. The CSS font family property defines the font to be used for an HTML element. The font family property can hold several font names as a fallback system. If the browser does not support the first font, it tries the next font. There are two types of font family names, family name and generic family. Family name is the name of a font family, like Times, Courier, Arial, and so on. Generic family is the name of a generic family, like Surrey, Sans Serif, Cursive, Fantasy, Monospace. Start with the font you want, and always end with the generic family, to let the browser pick a similar font in the generic family, if no other fonts are available. Be sure separate each value with a comma. If a font name contains white space, it must be quoted. Single quotes must be used when using the style attribute in the HTML. The CSS font size property defines the text size for an HTML element. and the CSS text align property defines the horizontal text alignment for an HTML element. The ID attribute is used to give a unique name or identifier to an element within a document. This makes it easier to select the element using CSS or JavaScript. The ID of an element must be unique within a single document. No two elements in the same document can be named with the same ID. And each element can have only one ID. Like ID attribute. The class attribute is also used to identify elements. But unlike ID, the class attribute does not have to be unique in the document. This means you can apply the same class to multiple elements in a document. Since a class can be applied to multiple elements, therefore any style rules that are written to that class will be applied to all the elements having that class. Don't worry if you still get confused with class and id attribute. We will come back later and talk this more detail after we cover the topic of CSS. All the examples shown in slide will be posted under the description. Feel free to try those out. In the next topic, I will cover formatting, quotations and comments of HTML. See you there.